Hello. Hello, podcast listeners. This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast.
And I'm Kara.
And I'm Megan.
Hey-ho.
I'm so happy that we're here talking to you guys.
And it's sunny outside.
Yeah, thank God. I'm so happy about the sun. I was just telling Kara, one of our listeners sent us a message on Instagram, and I was like, did you read that? And she was like, no. And I'm like, good. So I'm going to tell all of us
I can't wait.
the story. It's Nikki. Hey, Nikki. And I asked her permission to share it on the podcast.
Oh, Nikki's great.
Because I think it's important to, and she agreed, it's like for awareness for everybody to kind of normalize this kind of like reaction. Okay. So, well, you ladies may have saved a life today. And I was like,
What?
I get that all the time.
They're superheroes? What?
I had errands to run today for my first vendor expo. Hobby Lobby is right next to Dollar Tree. So yeah, as I walked out of Hobby Lobby, I saw a guy walking out of the Dollar Tree staring me down hard. I threw the first bags in my vehicle, locked the truck, and went to Dollar Tree for the last few things. And while I'm shopping, that guy came back in.
No thanks.
And then followed her and just stares.
No.
No shopping, no basket, just following her and staring until she got in line. And as soon as he got in line, he left and went outside. She pulled out her taser out of her bag, which I just freaking love.
That's
I'm
amazing.
Like, Nikki, I love you so much.
Yes.
Put it in the side pocket of her yoga pants, hoping since he's watching her so intently, he'll see her do that and be like, I should leave her alone.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
I guess this was like before he walked out.
Yeah.
She's like, as anyone who's met me knows, I have high functioning autism. I don't get emotional. I'm pretty much a stonewall unless I'm with my husband or kids. I wish I was more like Nikki in this way. I am such a freaking emotional wreck. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cool Hand Nick is what they ought to call me.
Oh, I love it.
And then she was like, I wish. I'm going to start calling you Cool Hand Nick.
Yeah. Just change your Instagram name.
Oh, God. Anywho, my hand started shaking. So it's almost like subconsciously
She's
her
rattled.
body
Yeah.
knows, you know? Like even if she's not used to feeling those kinds of emotions, but she knows.
Mm-hmm.
So she was really scared. She could hardly pay the cashier. She put all 3 bags, the keys, and her hand back in her left hand. So she has her right hand free to hold that taser. And as she's walking out, there he is in his maroon Tahoe staring her down.
Like on earth.
She obviously knows he doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So she kind of takes her taser and like does like a little crackle. So he sees it.
Yeah.
And when she does that, he like scoots down in his seat a little bit.
Oh.
But doesn't stop staring at her. So she gets in her car and she's just like, what do I do? You know? And she starts to leave the parking lot. She sees him staring down another blonde woman in the parking lot. So she like drives over there and tells that woman like, hey, watch out for that guy.
Yeah.
And that woman was like, oh my God, thank you.
Wow.
And then Nikki goes, so then I was like, what would I say if a girl told me this story? What would Kara, Megan, Ash, and Elena say? And I'm like, oh my God, please always lump us with the morbid girls. I love them so much. She put in quotation marks as if this is what we say. Girl, you got to call that shit in. You warned her.
Yes.
But he didn't even move. What about the next girl?
Exactly.
Which is such a good, like, that's the thing. What about the next
Instead
girl?
of just trying to get out of there, you're considering what's going to continue to happen.
Or what if she's younger than you?
Yes.
And less able to speak.
Right.
And recognize the bad stuff. So she calls 911 and she was like afraid of being called ridiculous. I called 911 and initially the operator was like, ma'am, I often sit in my car between errands. What's different here?
Right.
And then she told her again and she has her repeat all the details and they dispatched 2 cars out there. Turns out he was a multiple offending rapist with a warrant out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good for her.
How many times do you talk yourself out of that feeling?
Oh, exactly.
I will tell myself all the time,
Also,
I'm overreacting.
For that dispatcher to be like, I sit in my car all the time at first. God. No, just listen.
I know. You don't get to make this judgment.
No.
I'm calling you for a reason.
I saw it happen to
if
myself
I'm calling
and somebody
911,
else.
there's something happening weird here.
Oh my gosh. Good for you, Nikki.
Yeah. So she was like, I was really proud. Of the operator and officers for taking me seriously.
Yeah.
And that might not have happened if I didn't listen to my 2 favorite podcasts.
Oh, gosh. What?
Nikki, I think you're giving us way too much credit.
Yes.
You are, I just love that you did it. And honestly, it gives me more like bravery.
Yeah.
Because I've had some weird stuff happen.
Right.
And I will generally talk myself out of it because I am afraid of... You're just an emotional woman. I hate that.
I had a guy follow Soph and I in Target one time, and I just turned around and said, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" He walked away. But
I had a guy, I can't remember if I've told this in the podcast before or not, but at the mall here, have I ever told you this story?
I don't remember.
Me and my best friend, Mary Beth, were at the mall. And we had been shopping all day. I drove a purple Saturn, which we have discussed. We got in the car. It was a stick shift. So we get in the car. We're kind of like talking and chatting. And I notice a car pull in next to us over on the passenger side. And they open their driver's side door, but then didn't get out. And I'm like I see it in my peripheral vision, but I'm not really paying attention. And then I realize that car door has set open for too long.
Yeah.
And I look over and I can still remember the look on this man's face. I've never been leered at.
Ugh.
Except like it was the definition.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, ugh. And then he glanced down.
Oh no.
Which made me glance down.
Oh no.
He was naked from the waist down.
No.
Masturbating.
Ew.
Watching us.
No.
And my next thought was like, I immediately looked away and I thought, I am not giving this man the benefit of a reaction.
Yep.
And Mary Beth hasn't noticed yet. She's still talking. And I'm driving a stick shift. So all I'm thinking is like, get out of here. And then I kill it because I'm trying too hard just to get out of here. That's when Mary Beth goes, she said it real high pitched, Megan, that man has no clothes on. Which is hilarious now, but at the time, I was disturbing. So terrified.
Yeah.
And
Megan,
that man has no clothes on. And I was like, I know, don't look.
Don't look at him.
Get us out of there. First, we ran back inside. Like, we went to a different parking spot. We ran back inside to get from my friend's mom worked there.
Right.
But he was gone by the time. Nobody could do anything. And then the whole drive home, we were terrified that he was following us. Like, he kept pulling over. We were 17, feeling, you know? This kind of stuff happens. There are really gross people in the world.
Yeah.
And Nikki did 100% the right thing.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Take the chance of being ridiculed. Like, take the chance of someone being, like, thinking you're dumb for calling. Like, that would be better.
Yeah.
Than
this
letting
man
this
having
guy
a warrant in multiple rape charges. Yeah.
Like, what's the worst thing that happens if someone thinks you're overreacting?
Exactly.
So what?
Yeah. Oops.
Be like, well, I'm a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey guys, here we are.
I'm not a boring human.
No.
Yeah. So.
My gosh.
Nikki, thank you.
Good for you, girl.
Thank you for sending that in.
Yeah.
I know I just talked for 10 minutes about this.
No,
but
I love it. Good for you.
I just think it's important, you guys, to know this kind of thing happens and to not be afraid. When you know something's wrong, something's wrong. And even if you're like, well, I'm safe now, again, what about the next girl?
Yeah. What if not
such
everybody
a
else
good
is?
Thing. Yeah. Okay. So we love you. All right.
So much.
All right. Now, Kara has a story.
I do. Mummies. Frozen mummies.
Because it's like the Victorian.
Nobody's eating anybody.
Okay.
Nobody eats.
Do you promise?
I promise. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I had to think about it for a second. It was like, do they eat anybody before they freeze them? No, I don't. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see lots of references on TikTok to the Victorian mummy thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm always like,
Yeah.
Kara told me before TikTok did, which
Kara
means she's way ahead of everything.
That's how life is, really. I'm just one step ahead.
Just one step ahead of TikTok. That's all you got to do.
Okay. So the frozen mummies of the Andes. Between 95 and 97, some explorers conducted a series of expeditions around a volcano. Oh, God. Oh, man. Just in southwest Peru. One of the assistants.
And it was a place name?
Yeah. It was just southwest Peru.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They climbed this peak and they found a mummy bundle lying on the ice below the summit. So they were like, what's happening here? Like, we're just climbing, just exploring, trying to get, like, just information on this. And now all of a sudden we see mummies.
So like, it's not like someone who had climbed that far and then got frozen.
Right.
Like the people on Everest.
Right. Yes.
No, it's like an
actual, yes. Like preserved.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So it's not like they climbed too far and froze to death.
Right.
No. So they said they were staring at the face of an Inca mummy. They said it was a girl. They later called her the Ice Maiden. And she was the first frozen body that they found in the area. And they were like, okay, maybe it's a cultural thing. Like this is
some kind
like
of burial
very
thing.
well, like very well preserved. Like what is happening here? Like let's explore some more. They said there's other ice mummies, like the Icemen from the Alps. And then they said there's other, like you said, people that just like froze to their deaths and stuff. But they said this is completely different. They're described as mummies that were buried while they were still alive.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Huh?
Like, what?
Yeah. So they said One of the mummified girls was called Mummy Juanita, and they said she was in a startling state of preservation. So they said Egyptian mummies go through like this crazy. I actually really enjoy watching things on like King Tut and his sister and stuff.
Me too.
So Egyptian mummies go through like crazy processes of just embalming and oils and cloth
They
and
pull
like
their brain out through their
Yes,
nose.
yes.
That's the one thing I remember from like as a
Isn't
kid.
that
I was like,
crazy?
they pull their brain
They
out.
do what? That's what that starts.
I was like 9 years old and traumatized.
yes.
And here I am with the podcast now.
Exactly.
That's where it leads.
Yes. So it says, but somehow these mummies were frozen and preserved in a dry environment. But they were like, I don't understand. But this dry air, they're just like frozen solid. Like what?
So there's no like embalming or
No.
anything. But they were wrapped up?
Yeah. So they said there's several conditions that contribute to the preservation. They said probably the below freezing temperatures at these high altitudes. They said there's some humidity that's necessary for preservation of the body. And then absence of moisture causes shrinkage of organic materials and it becomes brittle due to water loss. So the volcanic ash that surrounds the mummies kind of helped the growth of bacteria and maintained moisture.
Yeah.
So the combination of all that just completely preserved them.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah. They said she was so well preserved that the investigators were able to determine changes in her diet by examining her hair because all of her hair was still there.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. They said that her diet was rich in meat, corn. Later studies discovered that she was chosen to be sacrificed some months before her death based on like what they were feeding her and stuff. So they also buried her with like all sorts of like little textiles and like trinkets and stuff, saying that she was like of elite status and she was chosen to sacrifice to the gods.
So it must have been some kind of honor.
Yeah.
Because if they feed you really well.
Yes. Okay. So they said in addition to the trinkets, they left her with jars of food and other ice mummy burials that they found with other ice mummies that people were just like given to the gods. Wow. So that, can you imagine just being this person and just like sitting up on this freezing hilltop being like, okay, gods, come get me. I've got all these treasures.
No.
And then just freezing to death.
No.
And being completely preserved.
And you'd have to be just completely dedicated because what would keep you from getting up and walking?
Exactly.
Like, I could just move down further and not die.
Right. Well, there's one girl that they found that was frozen that apparently died from a blow to the head. They said there was a crack in her skull and there was like a displacement of her brain. So some of them they found like wounds and stuff on, but then I'm wondering like, what if she fell and hit her head? Like, what if she wasn't where she was supposed to be and like fell and hit her head on something? Or like something fell from the mountain.
I was thinking, what if all of them were like drugged or poisoned or something?
That's true.
And so it's like
they were left there.
Form of death you wouldn't necessarily be able to see.
That's true.
They're so preserved, you might notice.
Yeah. I don't know.
Reactions to poison.
I don't know. So, like I said, they just had all these offerings to the gods. They had all these statues, woven textiles, like just cocoa leaves, incense, food, alcohol. So they were not only making those kind of sacrifices, but they were making human sacrifices. They said in 1954, looters in Chile found a body of an Incan boy on the summit of El Plomo, maybe? I don't know. 17,000 feet. That's crazy. Mountain climbers found more, and then they kept finding more and more. All these people are just like frozen and given to the gods. So they said that they believed that where the Incas would enter the area, they constructed like ritual sites on the mountains and worshipped there. But they weren't like planning on doing stuff. But then once they realized, oh, hey, we might be able to like get something out of this based on like fertility of the crops and like water, getting more water and like all these things, like maybe we should start giving them more.
We'll sacrifice a human.
Yeah. So it said that these initial explorers discovered 2 more mummy children on this same place. They said it aligns with the Spanish accounts of children being sacrificed in pairs. They called it companion sacrifices. So they don't think that Mummy Juanita was one of those victims, like a companion sacrifice, since she was like more, I don't know, higher power, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So PBS says that they were like the Incas were just like in all of these peaks where these other two were found, that they were just like, okay, this is also going to bring us closer to God. So not only are we going to get stuff from the gods, we're going to get closer
That
too.
makes sense.
Yeah. So they just kept discovering all of these little trinkets and treasures around all these things, and they're still doing investigations. But they just said, thinking back on it and like looking at these children, I mean, they were like between like, I think they said one of them was like 15, 12.
Oh, wow.
And they were just like, you could see their perfectly preserved faces. Like their whole emotional state was still on their face.
It would have to be so weird to be someone who found one, like before they were, I guess, you
Yeah.
found the first
Yeah.
one or two, and like think you found someone who died recently,
Right.
and then discover, no,
Yeah.
this is very, very old,
Right.
you know, because you would never expect
Yeah.
anyone to be that well preserved.
Right, exactly. Well, and then they said when they were doing more research on one of the girls that it looks like she had been struck by lightning because her chest cavity had a lot of damage, which, you know, goes with what lightning damage would do. But they were like, the rest of her was completely fine. Like everything was so well preserved, even the trinkets and everything around them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird too.
Yep. Mummy Juanita is still housed in Peru, and it says that their news agency reports that as November 2020, Mummy Juanita was officially listed as a cultural heritage of Peru.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they've still got her preserved in like a museum.
It's interesting too, because you think like whoever her parents were,
Yeah.
she was chosen, which has to be a weird thing because it's an
Yeah,
honor.
well, I
but
was
it's
gonna
also
say,
a
like,
kid.
yes, exactly, like that. They probably were like, "Oh my God, we're honored to give her to the gods." But wait a second, she's never coming home again.
I guess it depends on what you believe happens.
Right,
Like
exactly.
maybe this is going to be amazing for
Yeah.
her. But then the other part of that is like,
Hundreds and thousands of years later, we find her
and the
preserved on a
parents
mountain.
have no idea
Yeah.
that this,
Is what happened to their daughter.
yeah,
They
that's
just-
weird to me to think about.
They just gave her all their treasures.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rituals around death.
Okay, that's another thing. I almost
fascinating to me.
did that just on like burial processes for all sorts of cultures. I mean,
even what we do is weird. We put
Yes.
makeup on them and put them in a box
Oh,
and have it open.
I
for
think
people
I
to look
talked
at.
to you
That's
about this.
weird.
Like someone asked me to do lash extensions.
You
on a
did,
dead body
yeah.
one time. Nope. Nope. They'll talk to me. But I don't want to hear what they have to say. No, thank you.
no, you.
But then like other cultures like skin them and then like lay them up on this platform.
Yeah. And there's reasons for all of it.
Yeah.
Right? My mom was a hospice nurse for 14 years.
No.
And she always says, she's like, I don't want a funeral.
Yeah.
She's like, funerals are for the living
Right.
and just doing whatever they have to do to feel
Uh-huh.
closure or feel
Right.
better
Yeah.
or feel, and she's like, but like for the person who died, it's just like, just let me die. Just
Yeah.
leave it,
Just go on.
She's like, I don't want a funeral. And I'm like, okay, we're going to have a funeral. Like,
I'm gonna do it anyways.
people are
but
going to say
whatever.
goodbye to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is interesting when you stop and think like, we're so quick to point out, oh, this is so weird, but what we do is weird too. It's all your perspective on
Yeah.
what you grew up with and what's
Yeah.
normal for you. But
My mom, I'm sure, will want to be in one of those like tree pods. So we'll just have like a
Yes.
haunted like forest or
Oh, yeah.
something.
I think those
My
are
kids
neat.
will love it.
Yeah, for sure. Willow will talk to her
Oh my
every
God,
day.
yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
All right. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing.
Yeah,
I've
you're
never
so
heard of that.
welcome.
Yeah. Mummies are always fascinating.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Thanks for listening, you guys.
Yeah, guys.
I'm trying to think if we have anything else we need to share. Oh,
Mhm.
if you are in the Janet's level
Oh,
of
yeah.
the Patreon, our live chat is this Sunday,
Oh my gosh.
April 24th at 5:00.
Coming up.
So there will be more info for you in there.
Yeah.
Also, if you're on the Patreon at the Body of a Goddess or the Janet level, we are working on our Q&A episode. And this month we're asking for would you rather questions.
Yes.
And the ones that have been submitted so far are hilarious.
They're so funny.
Yeah. And so if you haven't had a chance to hop on there, please do that because we're going to record it next week. So
Yes.
hop in there, leave your would you rather question in the comments, or you can always private message them to us if you would prefer.
Yes.
Okay. We love you.
So much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.